Well, hello. A few things piled up again, so I'm going to be doing another video. This one I think I'm going to call it something like Speedrunning the 2025 IDGOP winter meeting. I talk a little bit about what I just found and whatnot, and I'm really liking my new mic setup. I jerry-rigged it together myself. It's probably in the last few videos. Anyway, so, more things about the winter meeting are coming, kind of congealing into place, and there's stuff to go over really quickly. And a very good amount of the resolutions intended for that meeting just got removed from the packet. A lot of the ones that came from the convention that were they kicked the countdown around. Well, they removed all but like 3 or 4 of them. So, and this includes the really stupid one about glamping. That one's no longer in there. And a good thing too, because Karens should absolutely not write resolutions, and such resolutions, if they did write them, definitely shouldn't be before the Idaho Republican Party as a whole. Just saying. The 3 new resolutions have been added on the end because I think they're like late files, or just the paperwork didn't go through at the right time or something. And I heard a little rumor about a 4th one, but if that even becomes a thing, well, we'll talk about it at that point. I will be covering the new resolutions in the there's something like 2025-30, 31, and 32. If I was just looking at it, so that's probably correct. I'll be covering them in a short video. I'll be covering them in a much shorter video, part 6 here shortly. I'll be recording all of these things all in the same run here. Now I put a little bit in here in my notes. Speak for a moment. Okay, so I think what is added to the current mess of the bylaws, the resolutions document, the whole packet, I think is just it's another manifestation of a very old problem that has definitely been getting worse. And I don't know if this is just simply a lack of institutional knowledge, or if it's just people being inconsiderate more these days, or if it's people getting dumber, although that's a really bad way of saying it. But it's not exactly a small amount of effort to get everybody from all the different parts of the Idaho Republican Party together for a meeting. And it's even worse when it has to be in the middle of the winter, like right before the legislative session. So, in such a case, the time is limited for either one reason or another, and that's a whole other fight in and of itself. But since time is limited, the time needs to be respected, and it most certainly has not been respected as of late. This is definitely a problem back in the 2021 summer meeting out in Pocatello. People just simply weren't respecting the Resolutions Committee's time. And this does happen with the Rules Committee at the state level all the time. A lot less, though, but it still very much happens. But yeah, even with some of the good ones, I'm still getting a feeling like a lot of these authors and a lot of these committees that put these resolutions forward, they are not respecting the time of everyone coming together as a state party. And this definitely isn't a factional thing, and it's not like it's a ignorance versus malice thing anyway. It happens on both sides of Hanlon's razor there. Happens from all factions mostly. And it is getting worse. So I really think that leadership, somebody somebody representing the state party, so like one of the vice chairs or the chair herself, should say something like, hey, keep your wits about you when you're when you're submitting this stuff, and please try harder to respect the time of everyone here, and you know what, hopefully the message gets received well and that we actually move forward. But this video is supposed to be about the speed running the winter meetings, so I'm gonna transition over in just a moment as soon as I get OBS to cooperate. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, there's the transition button. Oh my gosh. How did that get there? That's not the right window. I really hope nobody close to this person sees this. Anyway, so this is, it's labeled an agenda on here, but it's more accurately termed an itinerary, since an agenda is a thing that you have to follow in the middle of a meeting. Call to order, pledge of allegiance, invocation, adjournment. That's an agenda. Somebody is trying to text me right now, and I'm ignoring them. But yeah, this is set up just like most other winter and summer SCC meetings. The winter ones are almost always in Boise. In fact, I can't remember a winter one that wasn't. And summer ones are almost always somewhere other than Boise. However, they were a couple times. And summer meetings are not conventions. Don't screw that up. But anyway, here's the day one here is, of course, the Friday. And these are the Friday and Saturday right before legislative session. And this one has popped up in again, even though oftentimes it's not necessarily, since the regions often don't actually assemble in-house anyway, for a bunch of logistical reasons. But yeah, apparently a little bit after lunch through 3 p.m. in the Aspen room. So we've narrowed down a bunch of stuff with having where all of this stuff is at the Riverside, which is good. But yeah, after that, then they're going to have the same room do the executive committee meeting, which is this one. It's going to go one or two ways. It's either going to be really boring with a bunch of just administrative stuff, which is cool, or somebody's going to cause some kind of drama. And usual suspects, well, are the usual suspects, and therefore I'm imagining somebody's going to try something, because Dorothy Moon bad. That's literally the only viewpoint that a lot of the former establishment actually has. It's not principled at all. They just hate a lot of people on the conservative side, and as such, well, of course they're going to hate Dorothy Moon, even though the majority of Idaho Republicans and the majority of people inside the Idaho Republican Party love Dorothy Moon. They re-elected her, and the re-election of a chairman hasn't happened legitimately for real in quite some time. But anyway, I don't have to rehash the Coeur d'Alene convention. So there's another thing on the day two here. I think I mentioned it before, but anyway. So all this time they're going to have registration open. If you're coming from, and that's mostly that way because of people coming from out of town. If you made it into Boise, you're attending some meetings anyway, or just in the gallery or something, you go ahead and identify yourself to registration and whatnot. Most of us are just going to be guests or something, and that's going to be right there. Then it splits off into the usual committee meetings right there, resolutions and rules, and we've been going over their packet for quite some time now. And the new stuff added to resolutions. Oh yeah, one thing, no rules were added to the end of it. I tracked it. I double checked all of it, and no, there's no rules. So apparently, it was just resolutions that fell through the cracks or something. But yeah, those are going to be in the same room that the state executive committee was in, and then there's going to be the rules. I want to pay attention to a bunch of stuff happening in both. I'm probably just going to default to rules because resolutions is always longer. It's always longer. There's only one time it wasn't longer, and I still don't have a good explanation for it. And that was at the Chalice meeting. I could pontificate for a while as to why that was, but not needed. So yeah, that 9 p.m. right there for resolutions, rather, right there. We're going to probably blow, well, right down there. We're probably going to blow right past it again. Probably. And as such on that, there's a good idea that came from Trent Clark. Oh, yeah, I'm going to say it right now. Trent Clark had a really good idea at the 2022 convention in Twin Falls. Unfortunately, he implemented it really, really badly and ended up drawing it out a lot farther than it needed to go. But he had the idea of trying to rank all of the resolutions first, so that you could determine an order of how they were seen, rather than just making up the agenda beforehand. However, the way that he put it out in practice is that he didn't rank all of this quickly, and actually entertained a little bit of debate in little parts, and just wasn't very good. Now I think who is on resolutions again? Oh, Scott Herndon. Scott Herndon can handle a committee a lot better than Trent Clark. So I think if they're going to do that idea again, I don't know if they are or not, but if they're going to do that idea again, I think it would work better under that committee's leadership than with Trent Clark. Yeah, they'll probably blow way past 9, whatever, and then things will start congealing in the next morning. Well, it's always a Saturday morning where this kind of stuff is, where the doors will be open and there's a convention, and they're aiming to call to order at 9 a.m. It never starts on time. Just with that many people around, it just never starts on time. You know what I mean? Now, one thing that is missing from this little area right here. Oh well, I don't know if they're okay. Now y'all can see it, because apparently I can't move around the window right now. But there's some stuff that's missing from this little area right here. And I think I mentioned what it was on the last collection of videos, but stuff just happened. Stuff just happened with the Bingham County GOP thing. Ruling came down. It's extremely unfriendly, and the people responsible for that whole mess out there in Bingham County, well, they've effectively conceded the argument, and so another thing is about to happen following Monday. After I record this, I wonder how that's going to show up. I wish I had the time to go and do that. I won't have the time. I just won't. But also, doing that would break a personal rule I have, and I only suspend that rule in some very specific and much more urgent circumstances. And that personal rule is that I do not go road tripping outside of the Boise area, the Treasure Valley, unless there's some very specific circumstances. I just don't go. I don't go road tripping outside of the area from basically Halloween to March 1st. I just don't do it. Now, there are some usual exceptions, like at least the Hail Christmas party out in sweet Idaho. I'm related to like half the town out there still through my mother's side. A lot of good people out there in Jim County. So that's success because Horseshoe Bend and Sweet Idaho and Emmett, those aren't necessarily the Boise area. They're a little bit out, but you know what? That's okay. Anyway, so that's one exception I have, and got a couple of exceptions I won't be mentioning, but yeah, watching Dorothy Moon reorganize a county party properly, even though I'd love to see their faces. No, I just can't justify it. I can't justify suspending that own personal rule. But anyway, so see, they have some little bits in here that look like an agenda. This is an itinerary. This is not an agenda. But anyway, this looks like an agenda here. They'll have a call to order and roll call. Usually there's a pledge of allegiance and an invocation. Roll call takes half hour usually. Like, in fact, I remember about a year ago I made a video about the 2024 winter meeting and some stuff I was having to do with it. But Trent Clark did a new one last time. I didn't think that this was actually going to be possible, or people would do anything like this or want to. But it's apparently possible to disrupt, and derail a meeting before it even calls to order. And this was that whole thing where somebody was pretending to be Trent Clark in order to act nastiest towards a certain Republican volunteer. This person was also an alleged candidate for precinct committeeman, the same as that volunteer and whatnot. Anyway, don't need to rehash that video, but so that whole incident happened before Dorothy Moon had even called the whole thing to order, and even done even got as far as starting the roll call. Because remember, there's like 44 counties and like 35 districts, and there's a chair for every district, but there's a chairman, state committee man, state committee woman, and state youth committee person, and so that's like 4 people from a county, and you have to here present for every one of those people, and it gets to be a lot. And so I'd gotten up in the middle of the roll call since Ada had happened first, and we cheered a little bit for for the new leadership of the Ada County Republican Party. So I got up to go to the bathroom, and some man with a rancher's hat looked like he actually used that hat. He from some random place. I did not actually really bother to find out who this person was, but sometimes sometimes you're a man in the men's restroom, and you're at the urinal, and to break the complete awkwardness of the that is often present in some situations, I say something like, "Hey, do you think that we'll ever get a roll call under 20 minutes or something?" And we jaw jack back and forth, and then I say something stupid about the stupid crap that Trent Clark just pulled, before everything. And apparently this gentleman in the rancher's hat got really pissed off at me and says, "Oh, well, I actually happen to like Trent Clark." And the man looked at least a couple of decades my senior, probably a bit more. But I'm like, okay, you didn't like that remark. I don't care that you like Trent Clark. He still disrupted the meeting. But anyway, So yeah, that kind of thing can actually and yeah, and the roll call was nowhere from it was not even close to being done by the time I had gotten all the way back from my seat from that awkward situation. So anyway, but yeah, that's what happened last winter meeting. Let's see, we have state officer reports, so that'll take a while. Affiliate organization reports, and they're probably going to moan and complain about not having a voting position on the state executive committee again. But I'm hoping I'm really hoping that the Idaho Young Republicans aren't as crass and as stupid to put Jacob Clough in to represent them again, because that'll be just dumb and stupid. But after that, one of my favorite things that I wish I had lined up for, but people weren't being forthcoming with the forms and whatnot, and I wasn't going to force the issue anybody, but yeah, we give people awards to embarrass them, and I wonder if any of my friends are going to be up in this one, so I can say, hey, just, ask overly gushing questions just to make them, And then looks like we're going to be doing the rules report after that, and looks like there's going to be a hard break at noon at some point in the middle of all this. It's kind of presumptive that we'll even get to the rules report, and somebody's still trying to text me. Anyway, but yeah, the rules report is that's presumptive. But yeah, well, I'm imagining it's a hard break for lunch because of how they organized the luncheon this time. Yeah, I paid for a couple of tickets to the luncheon because I'm probably gonna be there with my brother. It's just state of Idaho doesn't want me to drive. I can actually drive pretty damn well, but whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's an hour and a half, and then they hour 30. So noon, 1:30 to adjournment. So that can be a really large amount of time. It could also be a very short amount of time. And in the winter, it wasn't any time at all because we apparently adjourned the sine die, and half the people didn't even know that's what we were doing. But anyway, so general session 2 comes in, continue or start the rules report, and then the resolutions committee report, which is going to be long. It's going to be long. Even with a lot of that crap cut out, still going to be pretty long. And then they put in the itinerary, but I never go to this. The winter gala, I've never gone to one before, and I really don't want to. It does not sound like something that would excite me. But yeah, that's speed running the thing itself. That's what's going on in there. I'm about to record a couple of other videos. The last of which I mentioned briefly already. But anyway, right here, I'm going to cut it off here and start recording the uploading on this and recording of the other videos. So with that, I'll say blessings.